You can go to the Patreon link in the description of this video to receive instant access to the entire course with either a Tier 2 or 3 subscription, or by purchasing the course individually. Alright, in this lesson we're going to look at how to hold our bar, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you some of the basic things to think about. You know, it's a process. You have to take one thing at a time, and don't beat yourself up too much when you're learning, because it's a complicated instrument, because you're using both your hands, both your feet, your knees. But what we want to do is, since this instrument isn't fretted, in other words, it doesn't have a raised fret like a guitar or a bass, it actually has, you're playing the frets or the positions with a bar, with a metal bar. You want to play true. In other words, if you're not exactly over these fret positions, and that's simply where they're marking the fretboard with these lines, you want that bar pretty much over the center of that. So we want to be able to get in the habit of playing, and when we come to a different position, we want to have this bar aligned exactly pretty much over the center of this line, of this fret line. So it's just as an example, I've chosen the 5th fret. So if you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th line up from this end of your guitar, that's where we're going to be just kind of looking with my hand and showing you what I'm doing and how I'm thinking. So we've got to hold this bar primarily with our thumb and with our index finger. The flat part of the bar, not the bullet nose, not the rounded end, but the flat part is pretty much going in this cup. You're cupping it, you're holding it in essence with these two, thumb, index. Okay? You lay that bar flat onto the surface of the strings. You put this index finger on the top. You cup this thumb to the side like that. Now from the top angle, the top camera, you can see that I placed these 3 fingers behind the bar, and that's to help mute and help cut down on noise when you slide that. If you keep those fingers down, it'll help cut down on some of those overtones and some of the noise that you would have if you did not do that. Now another thing that we're going to do is, as you become more proficient, is that you can have vibrato, which simply means that you're moving this bar. You're kind of oscillating that bar to get tone and also sustain. Okay. Now I know in the past you had players that used that even as an effect. So it was kind of like an exaggerated motion. But in order to do that, as you become, more into your playing, you've got to be able to control that bar. Okay, so to highlight that then, you're cupping with your thumb, index, flat part of the bar. This part right here is up in that part of your hand. You're holding it in essence with the thumb, index. These 3 fingers behind the bar, flat on the strings. I used to teach my students that you can take a mirror, place a mirror in front of your guitar where you can see the reflection back, and then you can actually see what your hand is, how it's aligned from the reflection off the mirror in front of your guitar. So that's a good thing to try if you have access to that. Work on keeping these fingers flat, keeping these, this index finger on top of the bar. Now, you'll also need to be able to manipulate the bar. Like if you're playing the strings toward the front of the guitar, you need to be able to move the bar up there. Same thing as if you're coming back down playing these lower strings. So as you're coming down, keeping these fingers flat, it helps mute those or kill those notes where they're not ringing out if you don't want them to. So you have to be able to control that bar like that. Now, what you want to do as just like a little exercise is hold that bar at the 5th fret, simply lift it up. Place it back down, lift it up. place it back down. Now you can pick any strings that you want. If you wanted to just play, say 5 and 6. So get where you can hold that and control that bar. Now, something I still work on is that a lot of times, like I may have this back of this bar moved a little bit. If I'm only dealing with these strings, I'm not playing the 9th or 10th string, I'm really not that concerned with that. I'm playing, so like I'm playing 4, 5, and 6. I can actually have that bar just a little bit out of line and still be in tune with the strings that the tip of the bar is over. But as a goal for right now, you need to work on keeping that bar just as straight over that fret as you can get it, you know, and then work on trying to hold it, being able to lift it up, put it back down, lift it up, put it back down, and come down true. Also, when you start sliding from one fret, say like I went from 5 to 4 to 3, being able to come right to that fret. Because what I said at the outset is it's not like a guitar where that fret is raised and you're manipulating those notes with your fingers. You're manipulating that fret with a bar. So work on that. It's, you know, it's something that you'll work on throughout your career, because it just takes, it's something that you just, I don't know if I would say that you ever master it, but I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's something that you want to just be aware of each time you sit down and play. Try to improve each time. And like I said on the outset too, that as you become more like an intermediate or advanced player, then you start working on the vibrato. So if you listen to like Patsy Cline was a good example of the way she did her voice. You can actually start doing that vibrato. Okay, so that's actually part of your playing too, to have the guitar not sounding so metallic. It's more like you're imitating a voice. So, as a recap, cupping the bar with thumb index, the bullet nose or the rounded part of the bar toward the front. Try to keep that part of the bar over the strings that you're playing. If I'm playing 4, then I want that pretty much, I don't want it like that to play 4. I want pretty much right toward the end of the bar to cover the string I'm playing with. If I came down and played my 8th string, I would probably bring my bar down to play it like that. I wouldn't just leave it like that, because then you're worried about your thumb and stuff being in the way. So you have to be able to move that bar up and down like that, plus laterally, or to the right or left. So then you have to be able to control it. Keep these fingers from the overhead view. You see you keeping these fingers down, and then that helps cut down on noise when you slide that bar, or if you want to get to start practicing doing the vibrato, which is simply where you're moving that bar just a little bit. You're oscillating that right over the fret, and that, to me, it's you're duplicating a voice. Okay, so let's say like I played 3, 1, 4. You see how you would have to move that bar up using the tip of the bar to try to deal with the note that you want. If I wanted 3, my third string, I had that bar pretty much over my third string. When I went up to play 1, I moved that bar up to 1. Then I wanted to play 4, I brought the bar back down. Okay, then I do a little bit of vibrato to help it sustain after the last note. Okay, so try those type exercises, say like I did 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. And then you can watch videos, if you can get some videos that show kind of up close of guys' hands like Emmons or Lloyd Green or Doug Jernigan or Franklin. You'll notice that a lot of those guys have different ways of doing their vibrato, different ways that they're holding their bar. You know, they may be doing it more like that or this, or have their thumb. Even it becomes a point of being the physical, how big your hand is or whatever too, the way you hold it. What I'm showing you are basics, and then you take that and apply it to your own needs and what you think sounds the best. All right, so try this and just work on it. Like I said, it's something that's going to take lots of practicing, but it's something that you can do. You just have to work on it and get you a process to take one thing at a time, and it'll be well worth it. Once you get it down, you'll see, you'll look back on it, and like I said, you realize, you know, it was just a process, and you were able to do it. So give it a try. Now that we've looked at some bar techniques, we'll look at covering our fretboard in the next lesson. But first, if you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that would be to join our Patreon site. But you can also support us by clicking the join, like, and subscribe buttons below. Also, we want to take this opportunity to thank our supporters on YouTube and Patreon, especially our Tier 3 supporters, Jim, M. Medlock, William, Philip, Arthur, and Douglas. So thanks again, guys, and keep picking.